Hey, hey, hey. Hi everyone. I'm back again with another video talking about none other than our beloved Atletico Madrid. Okay. I did not made a video about the match against Elche. I did not made a video about match against Alaves after those match got over. It has been some time now and it's international break going on. So we're gonna talk about this start, of course. And you know what? You know, I've started making shorts, so do check them out. So yeah, and subscribe, of course. But this is not the end of the video. Like we are just here starting about talking about all the things which have gone wrong and what are the things which are to be talked about when it comes to this team. And after international breakup, what can we expect and what should we expect with this team? Yeah. So here we go. So one thing which we have to first acknowledge is the fact that we have got our 10th signing. Yes, we have got double digit signing in this transfer window because at the deadline day we signed on loan Nicolas Gonzalez from Juventus, for which a lot of Juventus fans were happy given the fact that they got him off the books, just like we were when we got João Felix off our books. To be honest, I think he's not that great. Of course, I mean, if he was, then why would Juventus let him go for this kind of amount? And because as per reports, like kind of the clause of buying him is around 25 to 30 million for us. For that, Juventus are saying that they got a masterstroke. But he's here now, our player for this season at least, and he's gonna play in the right side, right flank, right wing. He's gonna be there as a competitor for Simeone's son, Giuliano, which I think was pretty much needed and we needed some different ideas at that position as well. Let's see what he brings up to the table because I don't know what he does, but let's hope for the best for him in his case. One thing is for sure in our transfers after these 10 signings is the fact that we have now pretty stacked attack. Okay, we have got tons of players who can play at those upper like forward going midfield positions, or even which is basically a forward positions in highline teams, and the left midfield, the right flank midfielder, and then of course those number 10s attacking midfielders and second striker positions. And the basic on paper two striker system which we play was something which in these three matches which we played, we are still playing. Though this team, with the amount of players we have near that positions of midfield, it would be a disservice if we're gonna still play with a two striker system and don't get one more player for the midfield, if I'm being honest. And this is where I would say, there has been some, I would say, the creatively and in terms of the system wise, if you talk about Simeone's system, it has been a kind of a clash. See the kind of players we have bought, our board have bought in. It is something which I can really go and say some really bold claims about how we are looking forward, because definitely a lot of these signings are future prospect signings. So don't be surprised if this season is transition one. But of course, none of us want to have a strings of bad results like this, and I think it's going to be hard. And these 2 weeks of international break which Simeone have are the one times where I would say I'd expect him to get some more technical fluidity in the team and change a bit, tweaks in his system, which I'm for sure he's gonna do, the kind of manager he is. And as I said, see, as per the moment we got these kind of players, the only formation which was getting in me, the on paper formation would be that of 4-2-3-1. I think that is the one formation which has been there in the team. Though when it comes to the squad dynamics and all the players we have, I think it just kind of makes things a bit more interesting and a bit more complex, if I'm being honest. One thing is there that the one starter which is a no-brainer for the team is the fact that Alvarez is going to start for sure. If we are going to switch from two striker position to one striker position, and the striker who's going to get on the bench, which is kind of an interesting case now, is Sorloth. And there have been tons of reports during the last 2 weeks of the transfer window that he's been looking for a move because he's looking for a first team football. And to be fair, I understand that a player wants to play first team football, but if I'm being also honest, is the fact that Sorloth, the way he played, as a starter against Elche, I was really disappointed by his sense of lethargy which I sensed in him against Elche specifically, and against Alaves also he did fine. But one thing is for sure that Alvarez and Sorloth together cannot be effective. if we are to play against good teams. Not even good teams. Our past three matches have been against near relegation zone teams, and still we have been struggling in terms of creativity, in terms of making some chances for the team. The reason why the system which we were playing, which we are playing currently, is working because without any creative dribbler is because of the fact that we were playing with kind of two false nine, two striker system with two false nine system, which kind of converted to one number nine and one false nine slash second striker system in the second half, when the defenders and the team were getting worn out. And it is during that time when we were getting Sorloth on the field, and then you know being the main man in the third in the third of the opposition, being the players, like he was able to pull defenders himself who for most part were already exhausted, and of course he could fight them, and we were getting the best out of him, which is something which even statistically, if you look, this season of Sorloth was definitely among his best. Though I would say in terms of playing, his seasons with Villarreal, the last season was his best season, personal best according to me. Though in terms of goals per minute ratio, his previous season was spectacular, and it's something which was really world class. And to be fair, he's getting a regular role in his Norway team. If he plays the way he's playing even right now, like he's been decent and coming off the bench, like if he's trusting Simeone at least for this season, because I don't think he's gonna be there for the next season as well. I think it's gonna be best for him and for Atletico as well, because it is needed in the team, and he'll for sure have a space in Norway's football team in the next year's World Cup, because like if it looks like that they're gonna qualify for the same, and I don't like there is no way he won't be getting a space, I would say, because Norway, they kind of play two striker system sometimes, so they're gonna go with three forwards: Strand Larsen, Sorloth, and of course Erling Haaland. So he should. All I can say to him, man, I think it's best for both the worlds if you trust on Simeone on this, because it's important to get results, and it's important to get results against every team. You have to be consistent if you really want to pull off some things in the league. That is something which I really have to talk about, the forward position. And given the fact that Greizmann is now not really at his best, but which is kind of sad to say, I think it's a no-brainer that we have to play that one striker system with five in the midfield. Where the two guys can be like, it can be a 4-5-1 and 4-3-3 esque position formation. Something this team is, to be honest. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Again, I'm saying that the way we have done our transfers, the kind of players we have got, it would makes no sense if we're going to still get to the 4-4-2 formation, unless Simeone does something out of the box that even we cannot think about. Okay, two ways in which a team can win: if you're extremely clinical in front of the opposition's goalkeeper, and you have a really solid defense and a really good counter-attacking formation, or if you may be a bit leak in the defense and you go on and outscore your opponent in terms of goals. And for past decade, for sure Simeone has been with the first approach, and it made sense, the kind of team we had and the way we used to play, and it was pretty much effective, to be honest. Even in that 5-3-2 position formation which we played in past 3-4 season before the season of 24-25. But these players, the way we have him, I think it's gonna be really tough, I would say. I think we have to get more into the pressing side of things. We have to become more of a high pressing team, alongside being way more direct, given the fact that, as I said, there is a bit lack of creativity, a creative dribbler. We don't have that currently in the team. Like us, like players like Simeone, players like Alvarez, and to some extent Baena, Thiago Almada, of course, for sure. Like these players, once in a while they can have pull off a move, pull off some dribble, which they can go past 2-3 defenders, but they are not the kind of players who have that as their bread and butter. They are creators. They'll be able to pull off some really solid passes here and there, have some really good one two with other players, tiki taka stuff, and pulling off some things out of nowhere in terms of passing and everything. But those chances, those things are always really once in a moon kind of things. Okay, we cannot rely on those every single time. Given either you make a team of all the players who are the best in their specific position, or you just make your system so robust, so good, that it just really squeezes goals out of the opposition. That is how we have to go with this team, man. Another big issue which people have is the roles and the kind of things we have profiling we have in terms of midfielders in the midfield, as I said, like the midfielders who can definitely be a starter for the team is Cardoso, Johnny Cardoso, Pablo Barrios, Conor Gallagher. These are the three ones who are pretty much fit and pretty good to play in the midfield, anytime, anywhere, like in that box to box role, kind of, in a dual pivot or anything. But the problem comes with, my man Gallagher. People, I still don't understand why. Like, I love Gallagher. I think the kind of player he is really important to have. See, whenever a team, like, there has to be some more. I still believe Gallagher have a lot of more dimensions to his game. See, I understand he's not creatively good on the ball. In general, he's not that good on the ball, but he's an athlete. He gives you the work rate. He gives you, those minutes. He can play 290 minutes, whole 90 minutes for back to back. I don't know how many games, and still be there. He's a really fit guy, and to be honest, as I said, a guy like him is much needed in the team. And if we would have sold him or went him with that loan for Manchester United as they were asking for us, I think that would have been really big miss and would have made no sense. I'm telling you, we need a squad depth, and players like Gallagher will have their more chances to shine. He can, it might take time because he may not be as versatile as Llorente, but he can for sure play in definite multiple positions. And one player I think who has to be there in the midfield, who, to be honest, alongside Alvarez, is doing way more things and is almost everywhere on the pitch, is Barrios. That guy, I'm telling you, if he was playing for any team like Barcelona, if he was playing for Liverpool, if he was playing for United or City, people would have been swooning all over him as if like he's the next greatest thing, which he is. He's currently one of the most consistent midfielders there in the market, in the whole like footballing world, not market. I don't want him to be sold, okay? Like for sure, like if we sell him, I think I'll s- I'll just lose hope. That's all I can say. But he's gonna be there playing if we're gonna play a dual pivot, and the another player has to be among Cardoso and Gallagher. So what really makes a tough decision here is that both Gallagher and Barrios, like sorry, not Barrios, Cardoso, they both are pretty decent in terms of defensive work and everything, and maybe even in like physicality, recovery, and passing. But in on ball quality, they kind of lack those things for sure. And because of that, all the creative load goes to Barrios. To be honest, in spite of, as I said, he's being one of the best, it still is a lot, I would say, for a player like him to do. He has been amazing, but I think we are just putting a lot of things on him, which, whenever someone puts that much pressure on a youngster, it's not appreciable. I mean, people might give examples of Barcelona and La Masia and how those players are saying. I'm telling you this thing right now. What is happening in Barcelona is also not really nice. It's just they were pretty lucky enough that they've got two world class, upcoming world class players out of La Masia at the same time, the name of Lamine Yamal and Pau Kubarsi, at such a dire situation. But getting them in front of these teams and going with them again and again and again with such a rigorous system, it's not a good thing for a youngster. I'm telling you, they've been playing continuously for I don't know how many, like for past season. And the same goes for Pedri, though they got an summer break because of that, because Barcelona was not a part of Club World Cup. But still, before that, it's been really taxing, and I hope for the best for them. And it's not that I don't want any one of them to get injured, but long term, it really hampers a lot of growth, and it's only rarest of the rarest cases that starting from at this position, from at such a young age, playing such at big levels and amazingly, you just go on to have such an insane level of in longevity like that of Ronaldo and Messi. Okay, but why are we getting to Barcelona, man? Getting back to the team, as I said, Barrios is getting a lot of work, is then dependent on Barrios. So, what we have to do, man? What can we do? See, one thing is for sure, Almada has creative juices in him for sure, but this is his second season on the European top flight, to be honest, even though he was there with Botafogo and he was doing pretty good. But the way he has climbed up the ladder, I don't think giving him such a big role in his first season would make any sense, because he has got those flair, but he still, I would say, is not at that level. So Baena becomes really important. Playing Bayana, and then you've got Raspadori. We have to use Raspadori as well, and I hope Nicolas Gonzalez pulls off and brings something on table, which is something which for like generally our players don't do. Let's say Nicolas Gonzalez come and become a specialist in those Trivela passes. That is something which is not there part of our plan, man. It would come out of nowhere, but yeah, I mean, I've been yapping now. I would say not giving any much more specific answers. But we have to get more players on the midfield, that's for sure. Our defense is not as the way it was used to be, and I think after being weak in defense in past 3-4 seasons, and now the kind of such recruitments we had, it's pretty sure we're transitioning. We're kind of dropping that old 4-4-2 Simeone position. See, people relate Simeone to those haram ball formation, which I understand, which I completely understand. But the fact is, he has also played more fluid attacking football during his time in South America. Though it was for a short period of time, but he has played. But as a coach, as a manager, when you have been playing for more than a decade, the same kind of rigorous counter attacking, like not being more on the position and being more in those haram ball, as I said, 4-4-2 flat formation, it's tough for you to transition to another completely different kind of a profiling. Okay, I believe in Simeone for sure. Even right now, I believe in him. I understand the slack which people wants him to get, and I believe he brings up like every year he comes up with a really amazing tactics which works amazingly, specifically in the first half of the season. But in second half, eventually things tend to get found out by other teams, and then there are matches where we get tactically outplayed. For example, in the last season, the match against Barcelona in Copa del Rey, Simeone's system, we really made Barcelona uncomfortable with the kind of team, the kind of gameplay we had. But in that Copa del Rey semi-final, we got found out. Hansi Flick tactically outplayed us, and that is the reason why we lost. Okay, see, and that is what I feel it is there. Simeone has to think a bit more, but of course, I would want more from these players. A bit more in the sense of more of a like magical moments that comes out of nowhere, because previous season we were winning by scoring late winners, though those late winners were a part of Simeone's plan. But to be honest, just like that, offside trap can be a strategy, it cannot be a system. Late winners can be a strategy, but they cannot be your system. That is also important. So okay, and as I said, see, this season can go anywhere from now. Okay, we can have a really exciting season, win a trophy or so, or it can be really turbulent one, and it's just a proper transitioning season for us. I want the first half because it's been quite long since we won a trophy, and it's really be patient, Atletico fans. Discuss everything, discuss what you feel, and because we have to put our points out there. We have to talk about our team by ourselves rather than making other people talk about us from their own perspective, because I've seen tons of people that talks about our team, that talks about like specifically Barcelona fans. I have a huge I don't know thing against them. They always speak on our behalves, but they don't really generally know about things what happenings inside. Okay, so yeah, speak for our team, be patient, hope for the best. That is all I have to say. And in terms of future, that's for sure, like this team here we have, it has so many youngsters. For sure we are looking for the future, and I have a gut feeling, I personally believe, the way things are going, I think we are more looking forward to changing the personality, changing the whole, like the whole make we are makeshifting shape shifting our club's profile, our club's ideals, in terms of the football we play, from what we had with under Simeone to going to more maybe like a direct slash position based kind of football. We're gonna see what happens, and there are a lot of things which we have to talk about in this. You talk about the successor who might be there for Simeone, or you may even talk about, even if, like, as our assistant manager said that Fernando Torres, he spoke specifically his name being the successor there for Simeone. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Fernando Torres and Felipe Luis both are accustomed to this 4-2-3-1 formation, which I've been talking about in this video. Okay, so yeah, man. Hope for the best, man. There are so many things which I have to talk about. I think I'm gonna make more videos. I know I did not make videos about those three match days, like specifically the last two match days, because I was not in the mood and in other things. But we have to talk about this, and there are stuff which I did not still cover, which includes the defense and the profile which I have first. But before ending, I have to say David Hansko has been the best signing. He's been amazing for us, and the guy is class. He's class and he deserves all the credit. And Marcos Llorente is the most underrated footballer in past 5 years. Period. This is where I'm gonna end my video, and thank you for watching till the end. If you're here still now, I appreciate you all, and subscribe for more again. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.